should language learning be free, and if not, how much will it cost you to learn a language? So this is something that I do hear a lot of people ask. No one's actually asked it yet in the comments, but I do hear a lot of people ask it in real life, so I thought I'd make a video on it and just kind of explain, like, do you really need to pay money to learn a language? Do you need to pay for the premiums on the apps, or do you need to buy textbooks, hire a tutor, that kind of thing? So that's literally what we're just going to talk about, straight to the point. Yeah, you can absolutely learn a language for free. There is no real reason to have to pay money, and I say have. We'll talk about things you can pay for later, but you don't have to pay money to learn a language. So there are tons of free resources online that are easily accessible. So YouTube, various apps, free guides and websites, we'll talk about them in depth. But yeah, those are all the things that you can basically get for free. There's a few other things you can get for free, and there's even more things you can get for free, but they're not all entirely legal. So I'm going to stick to the legal things that you can get for free without having to pirate anything. Obviously there is some idiot is going to say in the comments, oh, but you need a laptop to access that. Yes, obviously you need a laptop, you need a phone or a laptop or something to access the internet. But as long as you have that, which I presume you do because you're able to watch this video, then you really don't need to pay for extra things. You have access to all those things for free. Even Duolingo is free. Like, you don't have to pay for it or anything. So there's literally a gazillion free things that you can access to learn the language. So this doesn't mean that all pay for resources are bad as well. I'm not trying to say that, oh, everything you could possibly pay for is a scam. A lot of them are, and we will definitely talk about that. But I'm not trying to say all pay for resources are bad. I'm just trying to paint the picture that you don't need to spend money to learn a language, or a lot of things you don't need to spend money to actually achieve, and language learning is definitely one of them. So I would recommend to beginners to start out without paying a cent. So a lot of people might think off the bat, okay, I got to buy a textbook, French textbook, because I'm going to start learning French. I would not actually recommend you do that, because you can learn a lot. You can learn you can put it this way, you can learn an entire language online without paying a cent if you don't want to. So I would recommend, at least for the first, I've written 3 months, that's just an arbitrary number. I would say at least a few weeks minimum, learn the language, and don't pay anyone just yet until you actually understand you like it. But I'd probably say a few weeks is too small. I'd probably say a few months at least, if you even want to pay anyone at all, which, as I said, you don't have to. So I would recommend you start out, and that's just to kind of get the idea of whether or not you actually like the language. And also, it's kind of like, if you start out and you're completely fresh, you don't actually have any problems yet. Like, sure, you don't know the language, but you haven't even learnt enough of it to kind of say, okay, this is giving me a lot of grief, more than most people. This is where I need specialist help from. You can't really say that to potentially like a tutor or whatever that you're paying for, because you haven't actually done enough of it. So yeah, I definitely recommend you start out, do at least a little bit for free before you buy anything. And again, you don't have to buy anything. And if you don't like the language / aren't disciplined enough to learn it for free, don't think that paying money will fix that as well. So if your problem is that you don't like the language at all, paying someone money is not going to fix that. If you aren't disciplined enough, potentially a tutor can teach you to be more disciplined, but at the end of the day, it's still you that has to become more disciplined. So if you aren't capable of learning it on your own, paying someone money won't generally fix that. Obviously, if it's a really difficult language, you need to have some kind of contact with a person, I would say on a fairly regular basis, just so you can actually learn the language. But don't think that just emptying your wallet on things is going to help you learn the language if you can't do it on your own, and you can't make any progress on your own. So yeah. Will paying money help? This is an interesting question. So I have it probably sounds like I've trashed it a lot on the previous slide. The answer is not necessarily, but it does depend on your investment, because there are certainly things that will help you, but you just kind of have to know what the right things are. So as a general rule, if you weren't going to learn the language anyway, paying money won't change that, as I just said. However, there are some things you can spend money on that are actually excellent investments, that can potentially speed up the process, just make it easy, that kind of thing. That does sound, I know people hear speed up language learning and they instantly freak out and they think, okay, this is some kind of scam. It's not. When I say speed up language learning, I don't mean, oh, buy this package to learn a language in 5 minutes, because that's retarded. I mean, by speed up language learning, I mean have a teacher potentially who you work really well with, and they can explain difficult things to you and get over a little bit of the pain. So you might learn 20% quicker than you would have without the teacher, that kind of thing. I'm not talking about ridiculous, like, scams, basically. I don't mean like a 5-minute learning package. We'll go through all the things I think actually can help you if you pay money. So investments that cost money are either a waste of time or an exchange of value. they fall into those two categories. Almost everything that you could probably pay money for is a waste of time as far as language learning goes. So in the waste of time section, subscription apps, do not buy these ever. Do not buy. I mean, if you really want to for fun, you can. But this is a video on language learning. So if your intention is solely to learn a language better, do not buy Duolingo Plus. I don't even know what all the other ones are called because I haven't looked at them. But there is no reason to buy subscription apps. There is nothing you can't find for free. And what you're paying for is just kind of a more gamified version. Like, I don't know, unlimited money or something in the app. I don't even know. I don't use all of them. But yeah, that's one thing. Really expensive textbooks. The thing about physical textbooks is you can often find them online, as I'll talk about in a second. So forking out a lot of money for something that's just been written down, it's not like that person who wrote the textbook invented it. It's going to be in a million different places and for free. So there's no reason to fork out $150 on a physical textbook. A lot of courses are also scams. This one isn't as clear cut as, I'm not, like I said, all subscription apps, all expensive textbooks, and now I've said some courses. So you kind of do have to know which courses are scams and which aren't. I'm not familiar. I've never actually bought a language teacher online's actual course, as in they've made some lectures, for example, and you go through and watch them all after you've paid for it, and maybe they've set up quizzes and that kind of thing. I actually have never bought one of those, so I am potentially ignorant of that, but for using, I can have a pretty good idea of what's going on there. A lot of it kind of follows the same principle as the expensive textbook thing I just said, which is you can find all of that information for free. Potentially there are some really good deals out there, and if you're curious, obviously, I'll comment down below and I'll go have a look at it for you and tell you if I think it's a good idea or not to pay for, because I am on your side after all. I'm not trying to make your guys' life any harder. In fact, it's obviously I make these videos to try and help people out of my own time for no money. I want to help you guys. That's my goal here. So feel free to comment down below if you have any questions and that kind of thing. In the other category, which might seem the same size, but it's actually not, if you look at the actual things I put in each category, this is the help category. So this is things that can assist you if you do choose to spend your money on it. Again, you don't have to, but these will help you. So tutoring, I've put an asterisk because it depends on the kind of tutoring. As far as speaking to natives go, that can be really useful when you're learning a language, having a native speak to you. And at the end of the day, it's going to be crucial at some point, because you're not just learning the language just to say you can. You're learning the language to talk to people and read and watch movies and that kind of thing. Do all the normal things you want to do when you can speak a language. So if you can find a good tutor that isn't ridiculously expensive, if you can find a good tutor that isn't ridiculously expensive, that you work well with, and you can see yourself making progress, then that's a good thing. You kind of do have to get to know the person to actually know whether or not that's going to go well with them. The other kind of tutoring you can get is kind of coaching, where a specialist will actually help you with your language problems and walk you through. You might not understand verb conjugation or anything really, and they can explain the concept to you, and then they can actually research your language and kind of explain difficult things to you. That can be really useful as long as the person is good at it. If they're trash at it, they'd probably just give up. So it's pretty easy to know if they're good at it. If they're responding to you with useful things that are helping you, they're good at it. Keep going. But yeah, travel, going to that country can be good. Novels, obviously that's expensive. Sorry, novels as well. The thing I've actually got on the next slide, a kind of really good explanation of the things that can help you. I'm just kind of listing them now. Novels can be good as well because you enjoy them. Same with any kind of media you enjoy. Can be good because you enjoy it, so it's motivating you to keep learning the language. And then multilingual film/TV subscriptions can be good as well, because if you plan on using them, that is. I don't actually watch that much TV, but I'm weird, so a lot of people do like to watch a lot of TV and movies. So yeah, if you can find a good price one in whatever language you're doing that you can't find for free elsewhere, I would say go for it. If that makes you happy and you want to watch shows or whatever in the language you're learning, you should do that. So yeah, anything useful will help you with problems you're having. It'll correct your errors, it'll boost your motivation, and it will reduce your boredom, that kind of thing. If it's not doing one of those 4 things down the bottom, it's probably not worth spending your money on. Also, if you can fix those 4 things without spending money easier than you can with the thing you're spending money on, it's a waste of money as well. So yeah, I definitely remember that. If it's not fixing your problems, correcting your errors, giving you more motivation, or getting rid of your boredom, it's probably a waste of time. If you look at tutoring, for example, that is that is getting rid of your problems with coaching. It's fixing your errors with talking to a native speaker. It's potentially giving you motivation because you're actually making progress, and I guess it could be fixing boredom as well. They don't have to do all 4 of them, but I think it can do 3.5 out of 4, which I think is pretty good. So. Best investments, free. These are just the best investments you can possibly make. Not all of them cost money as well. I'm just going to get a drink of water because I'm literally dying. So, sorry about that. These are the best investments you can make. Free textbooks. As I said before, paying for textbooks is a bad idea. So, the best investment you can make is finding free textbooks. Textbooks can be really useful because if it's a good textbook, that is, because they can explain things. Same with guides as well. And many are easily downloadable. It would be too difficult to link them in the description because like if I link one French textbook, then do I have to go through and link one for every single language? I don't really feel like doing that. So I'll tell you what, if you want me to send you a textbook, comment down below and then I'll send you one. I'm not going to link 52 textbooks in the description. I'll run out of words to write everything else. So yeah, many are easily downloadable as well. I'll probably make a video on how to find resources too. Free courses and communities. So yeah, if I think on School, for example, if you don't know what the website School is, I will put a link for that in the description below. SKOOL. It's a website where creators can put their own communities up. A lot of them do cost money, but a lot of them don't. They're free to join, and it's free to make an account on that website, so you can join free communities. And there probably is one to do with language learning on there. I don't know. That's just an example. There are plenty of free communities, Discords or whatever you can join by language creators, and I would recommend you join that because you're being surrounded by people that are interested in the same things as you. I'm actually looking to set up a Discord. I'm working on it right now. So yeah, that kind of thing is good as well. Language YouTubers as well. Obviously they're free because YouTube is free. If you can find language YouTube channels that are really good, like for example, Learning Italian with Lucrezia. She is a really good teacher. I watched her content a lot when I was learning Italian. So just people like that do really work well with you. Those are good to use. As far as motivation goes, I would recommend you pick something you want to read, watch, or do once you know the language, because that will kind of fuel you. So, for an example, this motivation thing will most likely be something that isn't free. You do have to spend money on. For example, I don't believe I have a photo of it, but on this PowerPoint at least, sorry. I've talked about it in other videos, but when I learned Italian, I wanted to read the Harry Potter book series in Italian because 1, I really like it in English, and 2, I found kind of like an expensive, like hard copy, like really cool edition it did cost a bit, but that motivated me because I was like, hell yeah, once I learn this language, I'm going to buy that, I'm going to read the whole thing, and that is exactly what I did. I went through that, and that made me really happy. So, damn, I should have put a photo of the books, and they're really, really cool. It's like the Harry Potter series in Italian. The art was done by some architect. It was really cool. But yeah, something like that. Maybe it's a holiday, maybe it's a movie you want to watch, maybe it's whatever. Particularly if there is a little bit of money involved, I think that can actually be a good thing because you're like, okay, I'm going to reward myself by spending money once I've actually learned the language, and that can motivate you. So yeah, I would say that is something fine to spend money on. If you want to, like, if you read random book, The Count of Monte Cristo is a bit full on for books, but let's just say you really like reading long books. If you read that in English, like it, you're learning French, and you want to read The Count of Monte Cristo, how it was originally written in French, by all means, if that's what your heart's set on, do it, and then buy it after you've learned enough French and read the book. If that's what you want to do, I would highly say go for that because that will motivate you. You might think I'm insane. I know. I just said The Count of Monte Cristo is full on, but I can't talk because I'm actually reading War and Peace at the moment in English, and I'm gonna read it in Russian once I've learnt enough Russian. So yeah, that does make me a hypocrite because War and Peace is going to be way harder of a read than The Count of Monte Cristo, I would say. I haven't actually read The Count of Monte Cristo yet, but yeah. Oh well. Tutoring. As far as tutoring goes, you want to look for high quality tutoring that isn't ridiculously expensive, and it should be tutoring is generally good to kind of like iron out the mistakes you make, and there's 2 main types. I have talked about this before. So there's native speakers for practice. You want to find someone who has a good reputation and should charge a reasonable fee. So less than $50 AUD an hour. I believe that would be around, I think, 30 USD. I don't know how many pounds that is. Sorry, I'm not going to put it into every single currency in the world. You can put that into a thing if you want. I work in Australian dollars, so less than $50 an hour is pretty good. Anything more than that is probably a bit unreasonable just for a native speaker to talk to you, because you will find cheaper. Yeah, you can find them online as well. I made a full video on it. I'll have it pop up on the screen now. So yeah, I would recommend you do that. The other type of tutoring you can get is coaching. So this is different from a native speaker talking to you. Coaching is where someone, they may not actually speak the language that you're learning. Say you're, obviously you're an English speaker. Say you're learning Russian, for example. Your coach you might talk to online might not actually know Russian, but you can tell them about your problems and they will research it outside of your call time, your video chat time, or whatever, and they can like find explanations, and then they can teach you those concepts themselves, as well as go over just general errors. So potentially if you're learning a language and you don't even understand what verb conjugation is, they can actually explain that to you so you can apply that to the language you're learning, and that is extremely helpful. Like, that is a lot of the problems you have with learning a language is not actually, you think it's learning the language that's the problem, but the problem is with English, because you don't actually understand how the concept even works, and you're trying to teach yourself in another language. It's like trying to learn to run before you learn to walk. So before you learn complicated like Russian case, if you've never done case, but you don't even know what case is because you don't really need to know for English, then you're going to struggle with that. So that is a really good thing about coaching. As far as reasonable fees for that goes, they do vary. Sometimes they're up to $100 an hour, but that's pretty high. I would definitely aim for less. You can definitely find affordable coaching. So yeah, speaking of coaching, I want to talk about my service I have. So I actually do online language coaching. If you do like the kind of content I put out and the way I help, I'm actually quite good at helping people. I've taught a few people in real life, and now I'm taking students online. So this will be over video call from anywhere in the world, and I will assist you with any language learning grievances, topics, or literally anything you're having trouble with. I'm happy to explain things to you. I'm also happy to research, as I said before, your issues in your language outside of class time, so you won't have to pay me. I'll just be doing it while, like, just in my own personal time, and then I can send you all of the things I find that are useful, give you a huge boost to your progress. You'll have websites that I've picked out with, like, as an expert with my eye, that I think are really useful for you, full guides, that kind of thing. And yeah, we can walk through it, and it is extremely affordable. It's $35. I'm going to charge you $35, which is way less than you would usually get charged for a 1 hour call from an expert, someone who has actually, if you think about it, someone who's spent years learning languages, that's not very much to charge. Like, if you think about people who are qualified to do jobs, they generally get paid a lot more an hour, at least in Australian dollars. That is not that much to charge for something that is going to dramatically help you. And also consider it's technically more than an hour's work, because I'm giving you a bunch of other things. So you will get to exchange emails with me as well. I'm happy to help you in any way I can. And you make a strong ally, because I'm always going to be behind you and pushing you and trying to get you to be a better learner. So yeah, we do have a lot of free bonuses up for grabs at the moment. I am working on an ebook to send around and that kind of thing. So yeah, if you're interested in that, check the description. I wouldn't want you to miss out on it if you are struggling, or even if you're not struggling and you just want a bit of help and boost your progress. I can definitely provide that for you. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and have a good one. Definitely check the description out if you are interested in that. Bye.